Well, she's home. Tow company just arrived. I'm going to park it in the driveway for us. Let's see if she starts. Nope.
Welcome back to Chris Greener's Garage. I'm Chris.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're working on my 1994 Mustang GT convertible.
Let's see if she'll start today. Nope. Back to our all crank, no start situation. All right. A brand new Virgin distributor, but that doesn't mean it's working correctly, but I hear it. You can hear it firing when I turn it. That doesn't mean it's working correctly, and it doesn't mean it's lined up straight. I am going to pull this. We're going to reset number one to top dead center and see if that makes any difference. Junior's going to take it apart. That's all we're going to have time for today, really. We just noticed as Chris Jr. learns the joys of the SN95 system, we just realized the smog pump is here. It is hooked up. All the hoses are hooked up through the exhaust. Everything is hooked up. But the smog pump doesn't have a belt on it. It's not turning. I'm wondering if that is causing a problem. We're not sure. We're going to yank the smog pump off this weekend. But we'll have to probably get a new H-pipe and headers to do that first. Anyway, he's going to try to get it in there to number one cylinder and yank that spark plug. Junior got the number one spark plug out. And actually, I mean, it's a little bit fat, but I mean, doesn't look in bad condition. It looks like you can go right back in. They were supposed to be new plugs like a month ago. That looks about right, as rich and fat as it's running. So much for that idea. The distributor does appear to be at number one, and you can't see it down there, but the timing pointer does seem like it is pointing roughly around top dead center. I know it's hard to see, but it's pointing at something, some kind of etch in the cover or in the balancer. I got the distributor set at what I think is about 10 degrees, and I backed this out, and it is at least trying to idle now. It's at least idling for a minute. We got it idling. There's barely anything coming out of the tailpipes. Yeah. I can sit right in front of them. There's barely anything coming out of them. Every time we start it up, it starts idling high, 1300 RPM, and then starts this nonsense and shuts off. Well, I can already see that somebody has blocked off one part of the PCV valve. I'm not sure if that's leaking or not. I need to pull that out of there and check it. This PCV valve is completely shot. You can just breathe through both sides of it. This one out of white trash is working. I'm going to stick that in there, see if it makes any difference. I don't think it will. I think there's multiple issues here, but we'll see. White trash doesn't need it right now. Not expecting it to help, but we're going to check it out. Go ahead and fire it. Nope, no difference. Oh well, it was worth a shot. It is back to revving clean. Just doesn't want to idle. That PCV may have helped a little. It's been idling for a few minutes. Give it a little blip of the throttle. Do it again. Got a little stutter and hesitation, then it goes. It's idling 750 to 1,000 up and down, but the best it's idled today, that's something. It is still very jerky and idling very weirdly, but it is spray bottle time. It has, whoa, hello. Right in here is something going on. It sucked up water and immediately shut off. All right, we have something to work on. Second verse, same as the first, a little bit wetter and a little bit worse. Okay, it might have been nope, right in there. Same exact spot. Interesting. Whatever's happening right over in here, it won't start again. Now there's some sitting water on it. Sprayed it right over there at the base of the intake. And it immediately shut off. We may have to pull the upper intake. Yeah, we'll do an entire intake gasket on this thing this weekend. It is very possible this is all the intake, the factory intake gaskets. Who knows, but it's obvious this intake needs to come off, which means we got to pull the strut tower brace, got to pull the intake. While we're in there, we may as well do a full intake gasket job, an oil change, check the coolant, everything else. I mean, we got to do it anyway, so may as well do it right. I guess I'll order that stuff, and we'll get to that here in a few days. That's the end of today. I've got to get to work for the next few nights, and we'll be back hopefully this weekend. It is a few days later, and we have the same situation we've had a couple of days ago. We have good spark, we have good fuel pressure. Not that one of us would have found out the hard way that there's good fuel pressure or anything. It's not like one of us sprayed ourselves in the eye checking fuel pressure or anything like that. Nah, we wouldn't do that, especially not me. I've just remembered that this is not an OBD2 car, and all I have are OBD2 scanners. This is an OBD1, so that is useless. OBD1, pretty much useless. Even if you have a scanner, it barely tells you what's going on. So we're gonna have to do the old tried and true firing the parts cannon at this thing. Fortunately, I have this BBK 75mm throttle body with a good throttle position sensor and idle air controller on it. That's one of the things we're going to throw in here to see if that'll help it start. I mean, it won't give us any performance advantage, but it's got working sensors, and we have no idea whether any of this stuff works. So it's something to do, and we're going to do it because I've had this sitting around and it hasn't ever sold. So it's going on the car. Before we go any further, I am going to try cleaning the mass airflow meter and see if that might help us get this thing to start and fire. Junior's pulling the mass airflow meter. Junior has the mass air meter off. I'm under here looking at the harmonic balancer. I'm going to try to find the marks. Then I'm going to get a paint pen and try to mark them so we can keep up with the timing. Here's our smog pump that we're also going to remove, because while all the plumbing is still hooked up, there hasn't been a belt on it for a while and it barely moves. So it's coming out. I hate this so much. These Torx heads to take this mass air meter apart are the ones with the studs in the middle, the nuts in the middle. So you got to have a special Torx wrench. So even our Torx that fit this don't fit it. You can't get in there to pry on this thing, to apply any pressure. I hate these things. I don't know why these auto manufacturers try to get cute like this. Just use a regular Torx head. You have got to be kidding me. You can't even see the mass air meter to clean it or inspect it without that special Torx bit. Absolute insanity. Just check the radiator and the power steering fluid. Both of them are completely full, but both of them also look like they are factory original. They look horrible. We'll have to do a flush on those later. Junior is taking the strut tower brace off so we can move on in this project. We have the strut tower brace off, and while I was here I checked all these fuses. They're all good, so the problem is not in this fuse box. We're trying to do as much as we can before we make a parts store run. I have checked every sensor, the throttle position sensor, the idle air controller, and a bunch of stuff. I don't even know what it is. They're all getting power key on, they're all getting power cranking, so I'm not sure what's going on, but most of our sensors are at least getting power. Whether they're working or not, who knows. Like any good Mustang, we just have dozens and dozens of disconnected connectors. Even for a completely stock car, we have stuff on both sides all over the place, just sitting around. I have no idea what it does. There are no parts numbers on them. I don't know where they go. It's been too long. God only knows what problems those are causing. The fuel injectors are at least getting electrical signal, whether they're firing or not. I did check that. We're just bouncing around, getting done what we can get done when we can, but I finally found the numbers on the balancer, cleaned it up a little and marked it. It's hard to read, but I know what it means. That's good enough. The dreaded crank no start is killing us. We have each cylinder is firing. The distributor appears to be working despite my doubts about it. It's got good spark going into the cylinders when it's firing. It's got fuel, it's got air, even though we don't have any sensors on it or anything, but we can't even get it to try to light off. And I don't know why. I've checked everything. Our ECM in the car is firing. The CR, whatever, this thing down here is firing and has good power. I'm about to lose my mind with this thing. This is looking better and better. I'm trying my best to talk Junior into carbureting his car. I'm really kind of at a loss. If I can't get this thing to at least fire to diagnose, I don't see the point in pulling off the intake and changing the gaskets, changing the throttle body. We're going to be in the same situation we're in now. You know, it was different when it was firing and when it was starting and idling like crap. We could diagnose it that way. I can't find a reason why it won't start. I am very confused. All right, out of desperation, we pulled spark plug number 1 and reset top dead center. And it wasn't quite lined up just perfectly. It was lined up about 20 degrees, so I've cranked the distributor over and retarded it quite a bit. And we actually got it to fire just a moment ago. Try it again, Chris. That's the best it's been. It did idle a second ago. Try it again. All right, at least it runs now. Oh man, she's running fat. That was extremely frustrating. I would have sworn, if you asked me, I would have said the distributor is way too advanced. It's kicking back on the starter. It was actually, I think, way too retarded. I dialed it way over and it started firing again. Put the mass air meter back on. Maybe we can get to diagnosing this thing now if it'll actually idle for a minute. Well, we're at least in the ballpark with the timing. Now maybe we can time it and get to diagnosing now that it's finally running. And of course, here comes the rain on another rainless, dry, hot summer Texas day. A summer shower out of the blue with 0% chance of rain. Love it. No matter what we do, we can't get it to run without the timing chip in. We pull the timing chip to set the timing and it automatically stalls no matter what we do. So with the timing chip in, you can't tell what the timing is. So I'm not sure what we're going to do about this. Frustrating, but at least it's starting and running. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Every time it stalls, we have to turn the distributor again till it fires. We get it where it's idling really well. We pull the timing chip, shuts off. We have to do it all again. It will not fire no matter where we set the distributor. Well, try to set the timing. It's only running at like 35 degrees initial timing. As soon as I dial it back down to under 20, it immediately stalls no matter what we do. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Super frustrating. With the timing tab out, if you dial the distributor to like 40 degrees, it'll start and run. It's idling at like 30. If you dial it any lower than that, it shuts off. It does not appear that the balancer is turned. The harmonic balancer looks good, but it's shaky and it's running like garbage. So frustrating. Videotaping is hard while doing this stuff, but for the third time now that it's idling and running, sprayed some water down in here and it immediately stalled. So that's confirming my belief that there is a gasket leak. Now that it is somewhat starting and running, we may be able to continue diagnosing and move on. Try to start it again. Again. Yeah, I think it's sucking that water in. We have an idle, but I'm not seeing any bubbles. This is soap water. I'm not seeing any bubbles, but I'm not seeing any water getting sucked in. I'm not actually seeing anywhere anything is leaking. I'm just spraying it right here, and it's shutting the car off every time. I'm wondering if it's this injector connector or something. Part store run time, the boy. To the reliable car. Bet you never thought we'd be saying that, did you? Finally got the wrench I need to check the mass air meter. I was really hoping it'd be something simple like this, but unfortunately this thing looks clean to the point it looks brand new and unused. This is definitely not going to be our issue, but at least now we know. I think this sampling tube and mass air meter as a whole are all brand new. I'm thinking the kid we got it from had a similar problem to what we had, and he's trying to fix it. I don't think these things have ever been run before. I'm confident in this thing. I put it back together and put it back on the car. Here's Chris Jr. taking off the upper intake. I think we successfully got all 6 upper intake bolts off, broken loose without breaking them. Although they made some funky noises and we were uncomfortable. But I think we're going to be good. Upper intake is loose. All 6 bolts came out intact. Pry it up, boy. And then as you lift it up, we'll check all the vacuum connections under it. We forgot about the EGR stuff underneath it and all the connections, but try to lift it up now, buddy. I think we got one more vacuum attachment. Hold on. 2. Upper intake is off. Someone has clearly replaced this gasket before. Blue gasket seal everywhere. That isn't factory. Factory didn't use any gasket seal. So now we got to take the lower intake off and clean off all that crap. For the first time in my life, fuel rail disconnectors just worked the first time instantly, and dear God, there's a lot of crap in these lines. These things are gummed up all to hell. Huh, not good. All the accessories are unhooked. Junior's taking off the lower manifold. All right, an update. So we have all but 3 of the corner bolts out, and they do not want to move. We're soaking with PB Blaster. We tried a pry bar. We can't get a torch on them without melting stuff. This front corner bolt came out looking like this. All of our bolts came out wet, either with oil or coolant. So I'm thinking we had some serious intake leakage up here, because every single bolt has come out with fluid on it, and I don't remember that being the case. I don't think it should be the case. We may have to let these soak overnight just to try them tomorrow, because they're about to break. I got this front one out on the driver's side, and it took forever. That one back there on the driver's side feels like it is trying to break off. This just snapped off by breathing on it. I believe that's our temperature sender. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, that goes into the water pipes. That's not going to be any part of our running issue. So we've got everything out except this one back bolt, which feels like it's going to break. If I forgot to mention earlier, the middle bolts in this intake were hand loose, some of them. You can just pull them out by hand. I think the whole manifold is leaking. I think the whole thing's one giant gasket leak and fluid leak. I suspect that whoever put this on torqued the outside bolts really hard and just assumed or didn't know that the middles would loosen up. Everything was loose, everything's wet, everything's leaking. As soon as we can get that one bolt off, we'll check it out. This one bolt, you can just feel it. It's flexing almost like the bolt head is rounding, but it's not. It just feels soft. It feels like the bolt is breaking internally. I have a feeling it's broken off in the engine. I don't think we have a choice but to just go for it and hope for the best. We've made the decision to leave that overnight soaking in PB Blaster and hope for the best. Come morning, we're just going to go for it and see what happens. The valve covers are all hand loose also. That's always a good sign. It'll explain some of the oil leaking. My God, the hardest part of this is getting these valve covers off. I genuinely think the alternator has to come off to get a valve cover off in this car. I don't remember, but cannot get this thing to move enough to come off. This is why people hate automotive engineers. Look at this trash. What is this thermactor tube or whatever, this EGR tube? The hard water lines for the heater core and the alternator have this valve cover pinned in here. It is impossible to get it out without removing the upper intake or the alternator or the exhaust or something. This is insanity. God, I hate the factory garbage. Give me the aftermarket any day. It is time to try it. There is no more delaying it. And it snapped off. I think it snapped above the block. I'm not sure. Tried to avoid doing this, but it's time. We have been beating on and prying this intake entirely way too long. I think we're going to pull the thermostat housing, even though we don't have a thermostat and a gasket yet, and try to pry up from inside the thermostat housing and hope we don't break the intake. We had to take the fuel rails off to try to hit the intake from the side and pry on it on the side, and some of our injector O-rings are all jacked up. That might explain why when you spray water over there the engine was shut off. Some of these O-rings are flattened out, some of them are swollen, some of them are torn, so we'll get new injector O-rings later. We got tired of asking this intake to come off, so we went and got some new pry bars. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. All the different types of vehicles I've worked on. This intake is so stuck on here because of that one little broken nub. You can see the head bending there to try to pry on this intake. We've already broken the power steering bracket. We almost broke the water pump housing. Everything we've pried against is snapped, and the head is wanting to bend. Cast iron heads are bending out of the way because of this intake. Unreal. We've broken the seal all the way down. I took the torch and just burned most of the gasket out of here for the most part. I have put extensive heat on this bolt, but it's just not hot enough. It just can't loosen up. The bolt is so high up in the hole that it's just like a dowel pin holding this thing in place. We can't get it to go up or backwards or sideways or anything. The intake is now cracked. It's nothing we can't fix or overcome, but just never seen anything like this. We're having to go down and try to pry this thing as we go, and the intake broke under the stress of that one bolt that we can't get to drill out because of the overhang. It has been hours. It is time to end this. We have broken screwdrivers, we've broken the manifold, we've broken brackets. Now I'm just going to cut the ear off the back of this damn thing. Just going to cut it in half and just see what happens. And it should come apart pretty easy. It's so hot I can't touch it. Cut the back of that ear off, and now it looks like he's going to come up. Lift it, little boy. Better. Much closer. We're almost there. All right, I'll give you a hand. So close, yet still so far. Be careful not to pry on the lifters or the lifter tray. The bolt ended up just breaking off all the way in the head. So we're just going to clean this up, leave that where it is, and silicone the crap out of it, I guess. Not much else we can do. There's no way we're getting that bolt out, as rusty as it is, without pulling the head, and we are not pulling the head. I'm pretty sure those are the factory gaskets and the factory bolts, and I don't think this has ever been apart, judging by how filthy and disgusting it is in here. But I do think we had some leaks in here for a while. Anyway, we got to find some way to clean this up and clean this out and start putting it back together. Here's the intake. There's the bolt. Guess I'll grind this down flush over here and grind it flush against the head and hope silicone is going to do the job. Hope this bolt and silicone can make up the difference. But we got to wash this thing. Good Lord, there is so much oil inside the intake. It's unreal. This is as good as an entire bottle of oven cleaner could get it. It is not pretty, but it's better than it was, and it's going to have to be good enough. We don't have the hours that we would need to properly clean this thing. Huh, weird. There was no gasket in this factory throttle body. That could have been a problem. Here's our BBK throttle body, which is completely wasted on this thing, but these sensors were working as of last year. And here's the gasket that came off it. I'm going to try it with a little bit of gasket seal and hope for the best. All done. I was told last night that this coolant temperature sensor in the heater hose could cause problems with the engine idle and the fuel mixture, and I just realized how horrible a condition our connection is. We have no way to fix that right now except electrical tape. We have no way to fix this, so that's as good as it's going to get for a while. It's bad enough that I question whether it ever worked or not. It looks like it heated up and melted, but oh well, this is what we can do for now. We went to the store and we got fuel injector O-rings. We're just going to swap all the O-rings and all the injectors for brand new ones. I'm not going to risk these leaking. Some of these are rotted out. The cups on the end of these fuel injectors are super fragile and brittle. One of them just broke. It's not good. In order to get the O-rings over these cups that I can't seem to get off, I cut the pour tube, the squeeze tube from the silicone to fit, and I'll just slide this down over the tube. It takes about 3 seconds, but it does take both hands. Most of these O-rings are just brittle and falling apart. I'm sure they are leaking. It's probably one of the many reasons the lower intake is so filthy. Without exception, every black O-ring on the bottom of the fuel injector snapped, is brittle. All the blue ones up top came off in one piece, nice and clean. Just for fun, my brand new packages of O-rings came one short. One package was one O-ring short, so I'm going to have to reuse one of the old blues. Good times. We may have some fuel injector leaking. These black rings don't have half the friction the blue ones did. I guess we'll see. That's it for today. Hopefully we'll be back tomorrow to start trying to reassemble this garbage. It's day 4. We have to start our day by going and getting valve cover gaskets and a thermostat gasket because we forgot those things. And we are racing storms. Good times. We were gone 30-minute round trip to get our parts, and the wall of water is just over that tree line. We're about to get wet. We're just having so much fun. The thermostat is back in with a new gasket, and we're ready to put the intake manifold on, but it's really raining heavy now, and we're about to run the risk of getting water in the engine and getting wetter than we are, so we might have to stop. We're having all sorts of fun getting delayed by things like the old valve cover gasket on here is just glued on both sides. We're going to have to get a grinder just to get it off. Scrapers can't even touch it. We don't play valve cover lineup games. We use valve cover studs in every engine, and this is no different. We're putting studs in every single one so we don't have to jack with trying to line up bolts. And because I don't believe in removing an alternator just to get a valve cover on, I trimmed and cut this thing down pretty much. I would rather it piss oil all over this engine than to have to remove an alternator to get to this thing. I've gasket sealed the living crap out of this thing, especially back here by that broken bolt, and we're going to torque everything down and hope and pray. We got our lower intake on. Junior held the wires out of the way while I dropped it. As always, we use all thread rods as studs to hold our place so we can't misadjust the lower intake. Now we'll put our bolts in and tighten it down. Lower intake is installed. Talk about a stressful experience. We got caught with our pants down. We didn't have any ARP hardware or any even new stock bolts to replace any of this stuff with. And I was stressed trying to bolt these all down. Every time I turned one of these stock bolts, I kept expecting the head to break off. So that's just kind of the part of it. We weren't prepared to need to do all this, and we couldn't get new bolts in time. Our newest obstacle is the valve cover again. We spent all this time cutting all this off to clear the alternator, bashing in the corner of it, and now it's back to this again. And we just cannot get it to clear and go into place. Like a good, moral, and just human, we are replacing this trash over here with real hose clamps. After fighting the valve covers and a couple other little things, we turned into our own worst enemies when we installed the upper intake and forgot all the vacuum connections underneath. Had to pull it back off and reinstall everything. And we get to pull the upper intake off again because we got some of our vacuum lines confused and put one under the intake that doesn't go there. We only ended up having to take the upper intake off like 5 or 6 times for thermactor tube alignment, throttle body or throttle cable alignment and binding, vacuum routing, all the stupid stuff we kept forgetting. I think we're about ready to put the distributor in and see if it'll fire up. We have taken a long period of time to try to get this right. Taken our time, we've done things and redone them and triple checked them. Reset the distributor top dead center again, and we're going to see if it fires up. Go ahead. That doesn't sound good. Sounds horrible. Try again. Try again. Sounds worse than it did before. Damn it. We managed to kill our brand new battery trying to start this thing, so we're going to jump start it and see if we can get it to fire. It puffed to life for half a second there. Go ahead, Chris. Damn it. Try it again. Damn it. Ooh. Thinking that might be blow by. That's not good. Again. Again. It's firing and then immediately stalling. I don't know what's wrong. It is finally idling, but man, it sounds terrible. It sounds like it's got a giant vacuum leak. And we just killed ourselves trying to prevent giant vacuum leaks. It's starting and running. We got a lot of steam. I am hoping that's just what we spilled on the exhaust and not anything coming from a head gasket or anything, but I really can't see. Guess we'll see if it goes away in a minute. It is idling. This is less than ideal. It is now reliably starting and idling, but it's idling insanely high. It feels like we have a vacuum leak, but we can't find it. I set the timing at 10 degrees and put the timing chip back in, and it shot back up. It's probably idling at 1800 or 2000, and we don't know why. It was idling at 2 grand, suddenly it went down to 1500, then 1000, and then it shut itself off. Try to start it. Alright, it restarted, but 2000 RPMs again. It is doing that on its own. No one is inside the car. It's doing all this on its own. The good news is the exhaust cleared up. The bad news is it sounds worse than ever. We currently do not have any steam coming out from under the engine, nor anything coming out of the exhaust, which is good. I changed the throttle body idle adjustments, and now it's idling normally. Give it a little throttle, see if it'll rev any. Whoa, it almost sounds like an engine. Shut it off, see if it'll restart. Whoa. Turning off and turning back on its own and idling smoothly. Crazy. All right, we're gonna start it one last time. We've double and triple checked everything. Then we're gonna disconnect the jumper cables, let the battery charge, let it heat up, make sure it's not gonna overheat. And if it idles and doesn't overheat for a while, we'll take it on a test drive. Fire it up, buddy. What is that? Oh man. So the vacuum tube came off here. No big deal, but yeah, I think that's blow by. The engine sounds great under the hood. Still got a little bit of a burble out the exhaust, like a little sputter. I'm not sure what that is. The air conditioner compressor just kicked on for the first time. And we have cold air. Unreal. Wow. The air conditioner compressor may have just been kind of locked up. I don't know how long it'll last, but it's working. That's awesome. We'll put some more coolant in next week, buddy, okay?
Yeah.
Future Chris here. Just wanted to stress how frustrating this was at this point. At this point, what's not on camera is it had been idling and revving smooth for 30 minutes. It was running great, normal operating temperature. There no signs of any issues. We really thought we were moments away from getting in it, taking out a test drive when it just shut off, never restarts. No clue why. The way it was running, we thought we were golden. We went to wash up, left the car idling. It shut itself off and won't restart. It's not overheating or anything. It just shut off and won't start. We're not sure why. Let's see if it starts with the jump start. Nope, although the voltage still shows really low. Unreal. We were trying to get the car to start and we heard a loud pop. Now the car has no power. Battery's fine. Battery's got full charge. Something popped somewhere. We have no power in the fuse box. Wait, something just wiggled and gave us power. Huh, we must have loose wiring. We got power back. It was just a loose wire. Everything's got power. Everything seems to be functioning. We still have spark. We have fuel. No start again. And we don't know why. So confused. It started again a couple of times by turning the distributor, but it won't take any throttle. And it dies out instantly. And now we're just back to not starting at all. We now have constant smoke coming out of the breather on the valve cover and the dipstick. If you plug it all up, it starts coming out the dipstick and starts coming back through the throttle body. That's not good. We are smelling raw gas smell, but we've checked the injectors and the fuel rails and everything's dry. We can't find any leaks. In fact, nothing looks like it's leaking. Coolant, oil, gasoline, nothing. But it definitely is not starting at all. It's not even trying now. It just spins. We tried starter fluid down the throttle body to see if it was a fuel delivery problem, and no difference. It just spins and cranks and sounds great and won't start. So that's it. We're done. No, we did not get it running and driving. We thought we were going to. We were moments away from driving off, but we got nowhere. It won't start. It's been hours. It was running great. We have fuel, we have spark, we have air. We've tried starter fluid. We've tried everything we can think of. We don't know what's wrong. We checked every vacuum leak we could. We checked fuel pressure over and over and over, ad nauseum. We checked spark. We just checked all the things so many dozens of times. The injectors are cycling. The distributor's sparking. It's got air. We can't find any vacuum leaks. The intake looks great. The intake looks dry. We just can't get it worked out, and we have no idea why. But that's it for this week. We are defeated. We're exhausted. We're pissed off. And we're calling it quits. We failed again. Starting to become a pattern. See you next time.